Tonight, the mayor says halt the protests. New York's Bill de Blasio tries to heal a rift with police as the city mourns 2 murdered officers.
The assassination of these 2 officers was an attack on the city of New York as a whole, on every one of us, on our values, on our democracy.
Reports from Don Daler and Jerika Duncan. And we'll speak with NYPD Commissioner William Bratton. Eric Fisher on the powerful storms that could ruin holiday travel. Who pulled the plug on North Korea's internet? Bob Orr takes a look. And
you have not reached your limit yet. Keep on pushing.
Michelle Miller on the transformation of high school dropouts after they got a second chance.
I think that all of us got so much more out of it than expected.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
Good evening. Scott is off tonight. I'm James Brown. The mayor of America's largest city today called for a temporary halt to anti-police protests as the city mourns 2 murdered officers. Wenjin Liu and Rafael Ramos were ambushed Saturday as they sat in their patrol car in Brooklyn. Fellow officers turned out in force to honor their fallen comrades. The attack inflamed a growing rift in the city. Police union leaders accused New York Mayor Bill de Blasio of siding with protesters. Don Daler begins our coverage.
This morning, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio visited the families of the murdered officers.
It's something you can never get used to, trying to console families who have lost so much.
At a press conference, de Blasio and Police Commissioner Bill Bratton faced a city divided.
In this tragedy, maybe we find some way of moving forward, that it would be an appropriate way to honor these fallen officers and their families that are in pain right now.
Saturday afternoon, officers Wenjin Liu and Rafael Ramos were sitting in their patrol car working an overtime shift at a housing project when police say Ismail Brinsley walked up, took a shooter stance, and opened fire. The 28-year-old Brooklyn native, shown here before the shooting in surveillance video at a nearby mall, warned of his intention to shoot cops in posts on Instagram, saying, "They take one of ours, let's take 2 of theirs, and shoot the police." When the mayor visited the hospital where Liu and Ramos were declared dead, some officers turned their backs on him.
There's blood on many hands tonight.
Police Benevolent Association President Pat Lynch went so far as to blame de Blasio for their deaths.
That blood on the hands starts on the steps of City Hall in the office of the mayor.
The murders exposed a long simmering tension between de Blasio and the NYPD. One of his first actions when elected was to end the controversial stop and frisk program. During recent protests, he said he had to warn his biracial son about dealing with police.
Is my child safe? And not just from some of the painful realities, crime and violence in some of our neighborhoods, but are they safe from the very people they want to have faith in as their protectors?
Today, the mayor denounced any violence and defended his support of both police and of citizens' rights to protest.
There are some people who say hateful things. They have no place in these protests. They are not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the vast majority of New Yorkers, like the vast majority of Americans who believe in peaceful, democratic process.
Commissioner Bratton defended the bravery of his police department, but said many of the angry voices against the mayor are playing politics.
Can you point out to me one mayor that has not been battling with the police unions in the last 50 years? Name one.
An online petition calling for de Blasio's resignation has received over 60,000 signatures. James, the mayor asked that all protests be held off until after the officer's funeral. Those are scheduled for this weekend.
Don Daler in New York. Thank you, Don. The 2 officers were not Ismail Brinsley's only victims. On Saturday, he shot and wounded an ex-girlfriend in Baltimore, then hopped a bus to New York, where he later carried out the murders. Jerika Duncan tells us Brinsley was no stranger to trouble.
Ismail Brinsley's criminal past went back more than a decade. From August of 2004 to June of 2013, he was arrested in Georgia at least 15 times for assault, shoplifting, and grand larceny. He was also arrested 4 times in Ohio in 2009. Beginning in 2011, he served 2 years in prison for criminal possession of a weapon. He had been estranged from his family for years. Today, his sister, Jalal Brinsley, spoke.
It had nothing to do with police retaliation. Absolutely nothing to do with police retaliation. He was disturbed. The way he did this it's horrifying.
Brinsley was originally from Brooklyn. His mother told police she feared her son. She said he had a troubled childhood and was often violent. Investigators found 119 items on his Instagram account filled with self-despair and anti-government views.
If you have emotional issues and you're constantly going in and out of jail, prison, and clearly something's wrong, he should have been offered help.
Brinsley's family told investigators he tried to kill himself a year ago. On Saturday morning, before he left Baltimore, his ex-girlfriend told police she talked Brinsley out of another suicide attempt. Chief Robert Boyce.
He put the gun to his own head when he broke into her apartment, and then she talked him out of that, and he later shot her before he left.
Investigators are trying to piece together what Brinsley was doing in the 2 hours before the officers were killed. They believe he acted alone, but want to know if he talked to anyone about his plans. They will also look into where Brinsley was and who he communicated with in the 10 days before the shooting.
Sharika Duncan, thank you very much. William Bratton is New York City's police commissioner. And Commissioner, let me first of all offer my condolences to the other families of the slain officers.
Thank you.
Commissioner, how would you describe the state of morale for the New York City Police Department?
Well, I think at this time, the morale situation, as the officers speak very openly about, is not good. There's so many pressures on them at this time, not just in New York, but American policing in general, that they're being confronted with a lot of challenges at this time. And so you can understand why morale might not be as high as you might like it.
And challenge might be the operative word in terms of what's happening here in New York. Earlier today, you said that Mayor Bill de Blasio has lost some of the confidence and trust of some of the officers in the rank and file. What's necessary for him to regain that confidence?
Well, first off, that every mayor in New York City has had strained relations with the police force that they lead over the years. So the mayor's experience is not unique. Every mayor I've worked for has had strained relations in Boston, LA. It's part of the political terrain. You need to look beyond the morale, though, to the performance of the officers, and this is a reflection of their professionalism in that they're still out there working very hard. They're policing these demonstrations in the face of great adversity. They're policing despite the horrific murders over the weekend. They're still going toward the danger, not stepping back. So the morale is something that's internalized and but has not affected their performance, which is what you would ask.
With respect to moving forward, an apology. I know that when the mayor went to the hospital to pay his respects to the two slain officers, some of the officers there were so upset they turned their backs on him when he passed by. Is an apology offered either by the officers to the mayor or the mayor to the officers?
That circumstance was unfortunate as a manifestation of the frustration of some officers and something that I'm certainly not approving of. And we'll be part of the dialogue going forward to how do we find, as I've indicated, common ground. That I've been in the business a long time, and these issues are not new. They're not unique to New York. I've dealt with them in every city I've worked in, Los Angeles, Boston, and just it's part of the business, if you will.
New York City Police Commissioner William Bratton, thank you so much and the best going forward.
Thank you.
This, of course, is a big travel week, but some folks may be in for rough weather when they head out for the holidays. Eric Fisher is our chief meteorologist at our CBS station in Boston, WBZ. So, Eric, what can we expect?
Well, James, we're watching a storm that right now is bringing blizzard conditions to parts of the Colorado Rockies and the Wasatch. That moves east tomorrow. We'll be watching the southeast for Tuesday. A lot of heavy rain, thunderstorms developing here, especially as we head toward the afternoon and the evening. And with this, the threat of some severe weather. We'll be watching that I-10 corridor, New Orleans eastward. Could see a few tornadoes by late tomorrow, but also a lot of very heavy rainfall. So flash flooding will be a situation we'll have to monitor, and very treacherous travel here across the southeast. As we head toward Christmas Eve day and night, a very warm storm. The rain is going to go well north into Canada. Very wet across the east coast and the megalopolis. Also some very gusty conditions. Some of these gusts over 35 miles per hour. To the west, there is a cold side. Chicago over toward Detroit, a chance for some snowfall here, and also some pretty gusty winds. And that will be a story through Wednesday and into Christmas Day itself. You notice a few gusts here, 30, 45, even 50 miles per hour from the Midwest to the East Coast, disrupting some air travel. As we talk about all of this, James, it's better than a blizzard, but a lot of lot of folks still have to battle some nasty weather here for Christmas this year.
I will agree with that. Eric Fisher in Boston, thank you so very much. Now to the storm over the hacking attack on Sony Pictures. The FBI and President Obama have blamed it on North Korea. Tonight, the North is having its own problems with the internet. Bob Orr has been looking into that.
Outages and connectivity problems have disrupted North Korea's internet over the past few days. And Monday, the spotty network crashed, raising speculation of an attack by hackers or a state-sponsored cyber unit. Experts caution the outages could be traced to maintenance problems or a malfunction. But the internet blackout came as North Korea threatened broad new cyber attacks against U.S. targets, including the Pentagon and the White House. At the State Department, Marie Harf dismissed those new threats and called on leader Kim Jong-un to take responsibility for the devastating attack on Sony Pictures.
If they want to help here, they can admit their culpability and compensate Sony for the damages that they caused.
The White House has promised a proportional response, measures which could include financial sanctions aimed at Kim's regime or the relisting of North Korea as a state sponsor of terrorism. Over the weekend, President Obama was careful to say the attack on Sony was not an act of war.
I think it was an act of cyber vandalism that was very costly, very expensive. We take it very seriously.
A senior administration official downplayed the possibility of a retaliatory cyber strike. Analyst Jim Lewis said trading shots in cyberspace with North Korea is not a good option.
We have a lot more to lose than they do. Turning out the lights in Pyongyang, they do that by themselves every day. Turn out the lights in New York or Washington, there's real economic harm.
U.S. intelligence officials have no comment on the North Korean outage. Meanwhile, the FBI is working with other American media companies to improve cyber defenses at home. Agents are privately sharing a series of flash alerts, James, with detailed specific information about web addresses, malware codes, and servers used in that Sony attack.
Bob Orr in Washington, thank you. Shoppers packed the stores over the weekend. Is that the boost that retailers were hoping for? And we'll see the world as the astronauts see it when the CBS Evening News continues. If you did some holiday shopping this past weekend, you helped make retailing history as sales broke records. But will that make up for a slow start to the season? We asked Anna Werner to find out.
The holiday shopping rush arrived at the Dallas Galleria over the weekend. Shannon Chandler, a manager at the Swarovski jewelry store, was happy to see it.
Last weekend was good?
Phenomenal, phenomenal. This store, our sales, we actually doubled what we ended up doing last year.
Analysts say holiday sales started off slowly this year, but gained a tremendous boost Saturday and Sunday. They made up the biggest two-day sales period ever, totaling $42 billion. But that's just a dent in the projected $617 billion that analysts were hoping for this season. So far, sales of TVs, laptops, and smartphones have driven the consumer electronics category up 6% over last year. Home improvement is up more than 4%, but clothing is struggling, up only 2.5%.
It's not a terrible season, it's merely a lackluster season.
Retail analyst Craig Johnson predicts overall sales will grow by less than average because consumers are being cautious. 5 years ago, median household income was about $54,000. Today, it's just under $52,000.
Median household income is the single biggest determinant of retail sales. So as long as incomes are down, retail sales are going to be sluggish.
Well, the pre-Christmas sales are only half the equation here, James. Analysts say retailers are looking to the week of sales after the holiday to make up the rest of their profits.
Anna, thank you. Well, one gift keeps on giving. Gasoline prices have now fallen for 88 straight days, and that's a record. The average price of gas is now $2.39 a gallon. That's down 15 cents in the past week, and $1.31 since late April. The International Space Station just gave new meaning to the term home movie. The home is planet Earth. German astronaut Alexander Gerst put together a 6-minute time-lapse video during his 6 months on board. It features auroras, sunrises, clouds, and whole cities aglow at night. The movie was assembled from more than 12,000 individual images. Next, they were dropouts headed for trouble. Well, look at them now, after getting a second chance. For nearly 6 months, we have followed a group of high school dropouts who got a second chance through a program run by the National Guard in Los Angeles. They have endured academic, mental, and physical challenges. Tonight, we end our series with their new beginning. Here's Michelle Miller.
Let's go! Get up! Get up! Hurry up! Get up out of your bus!
This was the first day at Challenge Academy back in July.
You better hurry up! Let's go!
These rebellious, unfocused dropouts got a wake-up call like none they'd ever had.
Today is gonna be a long day. I told you it was coming.
Over the past 153 days, they've been torn down by discipline and built back up with praise.
Good job. I'm proud of you, kiddo. Good job.
We have followed all 8 of these cadets through the academy. We saw Francisco Lazo and his mother's emotional goodbye on intake day.
Oh, it breaks my heart, but it's for the best.
We saw Marissa Stowe go from lagging behind to one of the top in her class.
This is my mom.
And during a home visit with Krista Hopkins, we discovered the source of her pain.
I don't want to end up like my mom.
How many of you expected you'd be changed people?
I just saw it as, hey, you know what? My parents screwed me over. They didn't raise me right. But it was totally my fault. I treated people like crap. Like, I didn't think I'd come in here being changed. I didn't think that I needed to.
We didn't know exactly what we were getting ourselves into. And I think that all of us got so much more out of it than expected.
I'm gonna miss you too. Oh my.
As the cadets shared hugs and tears while lining up for graduation, in the stands, anxious parents were emotional too. Adja K. Stewart's mother, Samantha.
If there was something you could say to her right now, what would you say to her?
That I will always be there for her no matter what. That my life didn't begin until she came into this world.
Time to graduate, move forward, and go do great things.
Every day is so wonderful. Suddenly, it's hard to breathe.
Cadet Angel Lamaster. Cadet Adjakai Stewart. Cadet Marissa Stowe.
Words can't bring me down.
Cadet Caesar Jeremy. Cadet Tucker Edward.
Edward Tucker's mother, who's been in and out of his life since he was 3, wasn't there for Family Day, but she did make it to graduation. Along with the grandmother who raised him.
Oh, so proud of you.
Don't you bring me down today.
Sergeant Timothy Edwards and all the sergeants who used tough love to help turn these lives around said their goodbyes too with one final salute. As a testament to the Sunburst motto, dream, believe, achieve.
Success is out there waiting for you, all right?
And one last word of motivation.
The mission starts after graduation. That's when it starts, after graduation.
It has been remarkable to see the transformation of these teens, but JB, it is not over yet. For the next 12 months, each student has a mentor to help guide them on their new journey.
Michelle, a big thank you, and you can see the entire series, Second Chances, at our website, cbsnews.com. And you know what? A big welcome from us and congratulations. Wow. Well, that's the CBS Evening News for tonight. For Scott Pelley, I'm James Brown. Good night.